Greetings, demons, and welcome to Warhammer Weekly, where I discuss everything that we've heard of from Warhammer community in the last week. And this week is a little bit quieter than a lot of previous weeks we've had, but honestly, I don't really mind that. It actually makes it a little easier because this is the first time I'm actually doing this. And one major thing did happen, which we're going to be covering first, so let's just jump right into it.
Not the leader of a cult, RabbitWithAxe.
And of course, unless you haven't already heard about it somehow, the big news for this week is that the pricing is going to be changed or updated for essentially everything that Citadel and Games Workshop actually produce. And this is not unexpected, it's something that we have seen before, but from the 6th of March, which is still a little bit away, but still close enough where it's something to worry about, prices will be increasing. Now, this is about 6%. Then being a little bit weird about it because they are saying about. It is specifically not 6% exactly, but the assumption is around 6% is how you can work it out. And the example that they give is for Battle Sister Squads, which will be going up £1.50 from £36 to £37.50, or your local equivalents, obviously. I'm in the UK, so I'm going to be talking about it in pounds, and obviously Games Workshop is a British company, so that's the example they gave. But yeah, your equivalent will be different. I know that Battle Sisters are something like, I think they're $45 or something US, which is insane to me, but they'll be going up to like 48, something like that. And honestly, it's not the worst thing. At the end of the day, things have got more expensive in general. Inflation is a thing that exists. And for the most part, it has been a little while since we've seen any sort of major increase in price across everything when it comes to Citadel and Games Workshop. It is kind of annoying because some lines, especially the ones that have had newer models released, the new models have been more expensive than the older equivalent models. And, you know, whether you want to say, oh, it's worth it because the updated design, you know, the better design, it's up to you. I think that having those two things combined, though, where newer kits are more expensive, and then on top of that, all prices are going up, it makes it a lot harder to get into this hobby, and honestly, it kind of makes me happy that I have actually got a massive pile of shame right now, because it means that, you know, when it comes to 6th of March, I've still got plenty of stuff that I need to be working on, plenty of armies that I need to finish, because, you know, I've not finished anything yet, but, yeah, when it comes to the entire, like, changes that we're getting, essentially, plastic miniatures, Forge World and Citadel resin miniatures, standard and Artificer Citadel brushes, and spray paints are all going to be changing. And that doesn't mean that everything is changing. There's actually a decent amount of stuff that isn't, including the starter sets, which is great to know that they're not changing. They have been one of my favourite aspects of kind of both getting people that I know into the hobby and also just kind of bolstering certain aspects of my collection personally. Starter sets are really good value in general, and to have those not go up in price, really, really good by Games Workshop. I'm really happy about that. Paint sets also are not going up. Paint pots themselves also not going up. Citadel tools and the codexes, rulebooks, and battle tomes are going to be staying the same, as well as these synthetic STC brushes. So the standard and Artificer, that is such a difficult word to say, Citadel brushes are going up, but the synthetic STC brushes aren't, which, you know, there's a lot better brushes than what Citadel produce anyway, so, you know, I would recommend just going for those instead. But, you know, if you are someone who is diehard in the Citadel and Games Workshop ecosystem, they're not going up in price. If you just want the synthetics, it's the real hair sort of deal. They're the ones that are going to be going in price. But overall, it's a very interesting update to be reading through, and I will, of course, have everything linked in the description below so you can check it out yourself. It's a very short article, but it is something that you might want to just check for yourself just to see exactly what they've said. Next up, I'm not actually going in order of when things were announced, but we're jumping to Heresy Thursday because we got some really, really cool upgrades, in my opinion. They are obviously resin, with them being, you know, 30k related, but we do actually have some brand new Contemptor, Dreadnought, Legion upgrades, and I really love the Contemptor. It's actually my favourite design for the Dreadnought, and across the range, we're not actually getting every single Legion and chapter yet. we're getting 6 legions, the Sons of Horus, Imperial Fists, Dark Angels, Emperor's Children, White Scars, and Iron Warriors. And of these, I think my favourites are actually Imperial Fists and Emperor's Children. I don't use any of these armies currently. My 30k army is what is it now? I don't have it built yet because it's taking a while, but it's what even is it? I don't know. It's Thousand Suns. That's what it is. It's Thousand Suns in 30k. Obviously I have a Chaos army in 40k for that, and then my 40k main Space Marine army is Raven Guard. So this so far isn't useful to me. I do own a single plastic contemptor, and I have been very tempted to get some of the resin contemptors off Forge World. This, as I said before, is an upgrade set of resin parts, and it is mostly the torso, or rather exclusively the torso and the head, with some little dangly bits that can be attached onto that part. I think that's the best way of doing this. We obviously do have the pre-existing full custom Contemptor Dreadnoughts, which unfortunately are going to be discontinued. They're going to be marked pretty soon as last chance to buy if you are interested in getting those off Forge World. They are, of course, full resin, but they are also way more detailed with both custom arms and legs. So if you're into a fully, Legion-specific Dreadnought, that's a good way of getting it. I wouldn't recommend it just because it's resin completely, and, resin models aren't known for being that great. But if that's something that does interest you, get them while you still can. They haven't said a specific time when they're not going to be available anymore, but with Forge World, it could be that they're available for a week once they're marked as last chance to buy, or they could be available for the next 5 years. It's hard to say. Forge World's an enigma to me. I still don't quite understand it, but these will be coming to Forge World pretty soon, I do believe, and honestly, they do look amazing. The Imperial Fist ones and the Emperor's Children, both fantastic. Honestly, I think all of them look good. The White Scars, I'm not a huge fan of White Scars iconography in general, same with Dark Angels, but both of those look really good. To the point where I'm very, very tempted to maybe get the Dark Angels one just because of the feather motif, which I really do enjoy. But yeah, it's a very cool set of upgrades. I'm very excited to eventually get my Raven Guard upgrade sprue, or upgrade part, whatever, I don't know. Forge World piece, I guess. And yeah, maybe I will get an Emperor's Children one. My partner does actually play Emperor's Children in 40k, so I might just say, hey, I'm going to make you a Contemptor Dreadnought, because obviously Chaos can use them in 40k, but yeah, either way, I'm very excited for these. These are some really, really cool upgrades, and I'm just excited for anything more Contemptor Dreadnought, because they are really cool. I really do like them. Jumping into some Age of Sigmar news, we actually had another not Saruman. That's Lord of the Rings. That's the wrong franchise. We actually had a new Seraphon character announced, and that's the Saurus Astrolith Bearer. And this thing is really cool. It's another of the big boys, another of the Saurus, which aren't my favourite of the Seraphon. I do quite like Skinks personally, but we have got essentially a full refresh pretty recently of all the Saurus miniatures to make them look a million times better. They look a bit more like the Warcry ones do, which Warcry is what most of my Seraphon army actually is, because I do have a lot of Seraphon, because I'm a maniac who has too many armies at once. But yeah, this new model is honestly fantastic. Has a beautiful staff with an energy ball inside it. It's very neat, actually. I don't really know too much about Seraphon in terms of lore. I know they're the most alien of the, various species that are in Age of Sigmar. I know that they're, obviously very, very old. They are literal dinosaurs in a lot of ways. But yeah, some really interesting flavor text I do actually quite like that's in the article is that geometric symbols and powered by the orb of purest celestii that floats at its center. So that's obviously a description of the orb itself and the staff, the sigil, I suppose, that the Saurus is holding. I really enjoy just the idea that just pure energy essentially in a crystal is being just held there. I really do like that. The overall aesthetic, obviously it's Seraphon, so it's very Aztec, very dinosaur. I love the loincloth. It's something that a lot of people complain about the Saurus in general, is that, Kendall lower halves, and it's never been something that really bothered me, but it's good that they are actually giving at least some of them the loincloth treatment, just because it makes them make a lot more sense. I do quite enjoy that. And you got the little feather motif and stuff like that. It's just a very good look. I'm very excited to get more Seraphon, especially the Saurus, now that they've been refreshed. And just generally having some variety to them. Even if I don't necessarily end up using these as their intended models, having a little bit of variety in terms of what my different Saurus and Seraphon look like is always very nice. I am very excited for this. This does include a new set of abilities, the Celestial Conduit and Revivifying Energies, which I'm not going to get into too much right now because I don't really understand Age of Sigmar's gameplay. But yeah, both of them are very interesting to do with essentially area effect abilities like buffs. So yeah, I'm sure they'll be very, very useful when I eventually start playing Age of Sigmar, which I have yet to do. But yeah, overall, very excited for more Saurus stuff and more Seraphon stuff in general. And the fact that they gave us so much all at once, and then they're just like drip feeding us now, I quite enjoy that. I quite like that they gave us a lot to think about, and then they keep reminding us. It's something that they kind of failed to do with the dwarves, what are they called, the Votan, where they just kind of gave us a ton of stuff and then nothing for ages and then a ton of stuff again. Like, I don't like that. I prefer it like this, where we just get odd little bits every once in a while. And yeah, I'm just really excited for Seraphon. Seraphon are really cool. I'm still a Gloomspite Gitz player at heart, but I just love the aesthetic of Seraphon. They're really nice. But yeah, that's that. Moving into something that's a little bit Kill Team, a little bit 40k in general, we have brand new boarding patrols for the Tyranids, Necrons, and Grey Knights. And yeah, these are kind of interesting. I don't think I'll be getting any of these. The Necron one is probably the worst to me. Just going over real quick what's included. The Necron contains 10 Necron warriors, 1 Stalwart Lich Guard, 3 Ophidian Destroyers, and I think, is it a Canoptech Plasma Site? I'm trying to find it in the actual article. I didn't write this down, but I think that's what it is. And it also includes Scarab Swarms, but for some reason they don't actually show those in the picture. They're included with the warriors, so I don't really get that. But in any case, it's a pretty standard Necron team. Like, there's nothing special here, which is something that I've heard a lot of Necron players specifically complaining about, that you're essentially getting 2 of the same kit, which you can build either way. You're getting, 1 heavy unit of fast attack. I can't remember what they actually are. That is very visually interesting, but not that great, which is the Ophidian Destroyers, which they're probably the worst of the Destroyers, unfortunately, but I mean, what are you going to do? And then everything else is kind of middling. Like, it's cool to have, and, if you are struggling to somehow fill out a Necron army, which, I have more Necrons than I can figure out what to do with, and I don't even like them. It's a really weird proposition to be getting a boarding patrol for Necrons, but, it's alright. I do quite like it. It's just, I don't know, it's a lot of the stuff that we can just get normally at a pretty decent price, and I don't know. These sorts of discount boxes never really make sense to me when they're for factions that are really easy to get your hands on to begin with, but either way, as for the Tyranids, we actually get Tyranid Warriors, which, pretty normal. They're pretty expensive normally, actually, if I remember correctly. So, pretty good that we're getting those. Some Gene Stealers, which are such an old model, and it's really annoying. They're also in a really awkwardly small base. I'm not a huge Tyranids fan in general. I like some of their units, and I probably will get a few of them just as, on patrol, what is it called? On parade, sorry, models, just because I do quite like some of them. The Broodlord, which is actually in this boarding patrol, is phenomenal. I really like that model, but as a whole, I'm just not sold on this. It's more interesting to me personally compared to the Necron one, but at the same time, it's not actually that great. Like, the discount you're going to be getting is actually pretty good because of all these models that are pretty expensive in the grand scheme. But, like, if you already have a Broodlord, this is not really that valuable to you. If you already have, like, 1 or 2 squads of Tyranid Warriors, you're probably not going to want any more. And, Gene Stealers, they're great in general, just to have a lot of, but, like, there's a lot of other Tyranids that kind of fit the same sort of category that are a lot more fun to have. So, I don't know, it's kind of difficult. A lot of people have been complaining with the fact that it's Gene Stealers specifically, that it's not really a Tyranids box. You know, it's more of a Gene Stealer cult box plus Tyranid Warriors, which I kind of agree with, can disagree with. I think it's a good box in general for either army, though obviously you're not really going to be using the Warriors that much on Gene Stealer cult, but yeah, I don't know. I'm very mixed on it. It's alright. I definitely prefer it to the Necron box, but I think that's just I'm so used to seeing Necron stuff in general. So, yeah, it is what it is. I'm not in love with this, but it's alright. One set, though, of the 3 that I am kind of interested in, it might actually get me to make another army in the form of a kill team rather than an actual army. I don't have plans to make any more armies at the moment, but kill teams are always fun. The Grey Knights is really tempting as someone who doesn't own any Grey Knights. It comes with Castellan Crow, who's the main beautiful model, the main HQ for Grey Knights. I do love that model. It's so nice. It's one of the newest Grey Knights models, well, even though it came out like 5 years ago, I'm pretty sure. You also get 5 Grey Knight Terminators, which, you know, Termies, always good to see. I don't own a single Terminator, I don't think, from any faction, which is really weird because I'm a Thousand Suns player in 40k, but still, like, I don't own any Terminators, and I like the aesthetic of Grey Knight Terminators. They are very cool, and in general, you are going to be running them, like, in a Grey Knight army regardless. Like, Terminators are the thing you run in Grey Knights. And then you also get 10 normal Grey Knights, which is perfectly fine. You can obviously customize them into, interceptors, strike squads, and purifiers, something like that. I can't remember the specific. I think there might be one other thing you can turn them into, but I can't actually remember. But you know, you've got customization for those. Grey Knights are neat. I do quite like them. They are definitely the better Space Marine models, even though they are way older. I don't like them that much, but in a lot of ways I do prefer them aesthetically to like Primaris, which is ironic because I have like a million Primaris models at this point, but still, this is probably the one I'm most interested in. But as a lot of people have been pointing out online, this is not a great bundle if you are already a Grey Knights player, because it's essentially worthless unless you have nothing. Like, it's alright, but you are probably, if you have got like the start collecting box or whatever it's called, you've probably got most of what you need. And then you've also got the baby carriers, which like are the best Grey Knights model in general to a lot of people. Like, Castellan Crow's great to have. I don't think he's in the start collecting box, but otherwise, I'm pretty sure everything else is like in that kit. I think you get Terminators and regular Grey Knights and a what is it called? The it is in this as well. It's the Librarian, I think. Librarian and Terminator armor, I believe. Like, I think you get all of those in the start collecting box, so really it's Castellan Crow is the only benefit, and you're losing out on the baby carriers. It is what it is. I like all this. I don't know. I'm tempted by this one. It's the only one of the 3 that's been revealed this time that I'm actually interested in. And yeah, hopefully we see more of these. I am really holding out on there being a really good orc one. I like orcs. I don't like a lot of the models, but if I can get a good discount on certain models, I'd be very interested. So we'll hold out on this. Grey Knights is definitely interesting to me. The other 2 Necrons and Tyranids, they're whatever. I don't really care. The Chaos box is already sold out, and I was interested in that one with Abaddon. It is what it is. These boarding patrols are really cool to me, like, as a concept. I hope we get a lot of them, but I'm not holding my breath necessarily, because so far, other than the Chaos one, they've kind of all been kind of meh. So yeah, I'm holding out hope that we can get some really good ones for the other factions, but I'm not expecting it. And finally, we'll just quickly go over the rumour engine from this week. So this was from the 7th of February, and it's feathers. To me, it's very obvious that it's going to be more Seraphon stuff, and I think most people have already said that it's probably Seraphon stuff. The flavor text sort of thing that's in the article, or in the post, I suppose, does kind of push it maybe to be a bit Zeech. I don't think it is. I think it's very much AOS, and I think by that logic, it will be Seraphon. I'm just hoping, because obviously I'm a Thousand Suns player, I play Zeech Demons as well. I would love to get some Zeech. Maybe. I don't know, but it's feathers, so it's probably more Seraphon. And really, that's all I can say about it. It's interesting. I don't have any predictions on what kind of Seraphon it'll be. I kind of hope it's not more Saurus. I kind of want it to be more skink related, just because we haven't got much of that recently. But yeah, overall, that's kind of my prediction on this. It's probably Seraphon. I'd love it if it was like something to do with Zeech. I don't really know what else it would be, because not many other factions really have feathers as part of their iconography that I can think of. But in any case, tell me what you think of that one in the comments below if you think you have a better idea than me. If it's Age of Sigmar, I don't know too much, so you might have a better idea than me. If it's 40k, I think it has to be either... Well, I mean, what factions have that kind of iconography? It's going to be like Raven Guard, Dark Angels, or... Well, yeah, Zeech. Like, that's going to be maybe Thousand Suns at a stretch, but like, realistically, it's going to be one of those if it's 40k, and it's probably not. It's probably AOS, and I'm happy with that. As I say, I want more Seraphon stuff. I want more skinks, especially, because we've not got much of that recently, but yeah, in any case, that is it for the rumor engine. I'm kind of interested in hearing what you guys think, just in case you have a better idea, but yeah, it's feathers. I don't really know. It's probably Seraphon, but yeah, that is everything for this week. So, of course, I cover everything up until Sunday every week, so Monday to Sunday, and I sometimes will miss things that come out late Sunday just because I'm covering this in the morning. It will happen. There might be something that I missed. If I did, I will actually cover that next week, next Sunday. But otherwise, that really is going to be it for this video. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like it, subscribe if you're new here, and ring a bell. See you next month's upload. Otherwise, it's going to be it from me. And yeah. Bye.
Look at the screen!